Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating bottleneck in the manufacturing world. And to do it, we're going to follow a recurring character of ours. Let's call him Vinu. Vinu is a monocarton vendor running a bustling packaging and printing business over in India. He is incredibly hardworking. His presses are running literally all day long. But here's the thing. When the sun goes down, Vinu's real, exhausting second shift is just beginning. We're talking about the messy, painful journey out of manual quoting chaos.
Okay, let's dive right in. Picture this. It's 9 p.m. Vinu gets this exact WhatsApp message from a customer. Hi, need 5,000 premium boxes, 3x3x5, gold foil, need by month end. Now, it's messy, right? It's code switched between Hindi and English. It uses super vague, aesthetic words like premium, and it just throws out dimensions like 3x3x5 without specifying the exact layout. To the customer, hey, it was a quick 5-second text, but to Vinu, that message is a landmine.
So let me ask you, how long do you think it takes to actually quote that seemingly simple request? 5 minutes? Maybe 10? Well, in reality, that messy little text triggers a grueling 1 to 3 hours of manual calculation. Vinu has to mentally translate a word like premium into a specific paper type, figure out how many of those boxes physically fit onto a standard sheet of paper, estimate the cost of the gold foil block, double-check his current paper rates, and then format a reply. It is a massive, exhausting drain on his night.
And that right there brings us to a huge roadblock, the tribal knowledge trap. You see, the translation of that vague word, premium, into a precise printing specification, something like, say, 300 GSM folding boxboard with matte lamination, well, that translation lives entirely in Vinu's head. He's literally the only one who intuitively knows this stuff. If he hires a junior sales rep tomorrow, they're going to be totally lost. Because his critical business logic isn't written down in any system, Vinu basically becomes the ultimate bottleneck for his own business. Now imagine trying to do all that complex math at 11 p.m. You're tired, your brain is foggy, mistakes are going to happen, right? And in manufacturing, errors don't just add up, they compound. Let's say fatigue causes a tiny 3% underestimation on material costs, maybe a 5% error on the waste buffer. And oh, he forgets to add a 2% buffer for that complex gold foil finishing. Suddenly, Vinu has just quoted 10% below his actual break-even cost. Sure, he might win that 50,000-piece job, but he'll actively lose money on every single box he prints. It's a terrifying reality for a business owner.
So what's the fix? Well, instead of that old, slow, error-prone guesswork trapped in Vinu's tired brain, there's a solution called QuoteMono. It's an incredibly elegant, automated alternative. It takes Vinu's chaotic workflow and transforms it into organized, automated intelligence. By externalizing his business rules, QuoteMono makes it so Vinu doesn't have to be the sole human calculator for his company anymore.
The genius of QuoteMono is its 5-step architecture. It uses this brilliant brain versus calculator approach, cleanly separating language processing from the math. Steps 1 and 2, that's the brain. They use AI to handle the messy, ambiguous human language from WhatsApp. Steps 3 and 4, that's the calculator. They use strict, deterministic code to handle the exact math of printing geometry and pricing. And finally, step 5 automates the delivery. Let's zoom in on how that brain works first.
AI for language, not math. The brain of QuoteMono.
Here is the golden rule of this whole system. Large language models, like Claude, are strictly for language, never for math. Think about it. If you ask an AI to calculate the exact cost of 5,000 boxes based on a fluctuating daily paper rate, it's going to confidently hallucinate a number that could literally bankrupt you. So the intake parser is rigid. When it reads that WhatsApp message, it just acts as an extractor of objective facts. If it sees a word like premium or elegant, it absolutely does not try to guess the paper thickness. It just keeps those exact words as raw strings. It flags missing dimensions, identifies ambiguities, and ensures the AI doesn't silently invent a specific, costly material just to fill in a blank. It strictly prioritizes truth over completeness. To pull this off safely, the system is super smart. It makes 2 completely separate AI calls. Call 1 is purely objective extraction, just pulling literal facts and flagging what's missing. Call 2 is the specification phase, and this is where the real magic happens. It takes those raw aesthetic words, like premium, and cross-references them against Vinu's specific business defaults. It goes, okay, Vinu's rule is that for cosmetics, premium equals 300 GSM folding boxboard. It applies his tribal knowledge automatically, proposing the exact specs for Vinu to just review and approve.
The deterministic pricing engine. This is the calculator of QuoteMono.
Okay, we are leaving the AI entirely behind now. No more natural language processing, no more probabilistic guessing. We are entering the world of strict, margin-protecting, non-negotiable math. Because in the packaging business, if your math is wrong, your business is gone. This engine runs on deterministic code. That means every single rupee in the final output traces back directly to a strict formula applied to Vinu's personal rate card. There's no black box here. If a customer says, hey, why is my quote 40,000 rupees, Vinu can confidently point to the exact paper weight, the exact plate cost, and the exact lamination rate. He has 100% traceability, and that gives him immense credibility.
To give you a sense of what the calculator is dealing with, let's look at where the money actually goes in a typical monocarton order. Paper costs dominate, eating up a massive 50% of the pie. Printing and plates take up about 20%. Lamination and specialized finishing, like that gold foil requested earlier, take up 15%. And finally, the waste buffer and overhead account for the last 15%. The calculator engine has to accurately compute every single one of these slices independently.
So the engine takes all of that and runs some incredibly exhaustive math practically instantly. First, it calculates imposition, meaning exactly how many flat box patterns can physically squeeze onto one large sheet of paper. Then it calculates the precise paper weight in kilograms. Next, it amortizes the fixed costs, like the metal printing plates and cutting dies, spreading them evenly across the whole run. It applies finishing rates per square meter. It automatically tacks on a strict 5 to 8% wastage buffer so Vinu doesn't lose money on setup waste. And finally, it layers on his specific margin rules. Instant, flawless math, every single time.
And there's a super subtle but absolutely crucial business choice happening here. Overhead is kept strictly separated from profit margin. A lot of vendors accidentally mix these up. They blend their electricity and labor costs right into their profit percentage. By calculating them separately, QuoteMono isn't just a calculator, it's a true business intelligence layer. It shows Vinu his undeniable break-even point. He knows exactly how low he can negotiate a deal without actually bleeding money. Delivering professional quotes, giving Vinu the competitive edge.
So, the AI has sorted out the messy text, the calculator nailed the math. What's the final result? Well, contrast Vinu's old, rushed, typo-ridden midnight text with his brand new superpower. Quote, Mono instantly generates a beautifully formatted branded PDF alongside a perfectly marked down styled text summary. Vinu just hits copy and paste back into WhatsApp. Suddenly, his quote looks like it came from a massive, top-tier corporate packaging firm, not a tired vendor working late at his kitchen table. For the customer, it's literally night and day. They get a plain English summary of their specs, no confusing industry jargon. Crucially, the quote automatically includes pricing at 3 standard quantity tiers. And that is a proven industry tactic. Presenting tiered volume discounts effortlessly increases the average order value, because customers almost always bump up their order to snag that better unit price. It's got clear terms and even an AI-generated personalized closing sentence mentioning their specific brand. It just feels premium. Which brings us to the absolute aha moment of this entire explainer, the number 15. The whole end-to-end process, reading the messy text, translating the tribal knowledge, calculating the geometry, pricing the materials, and generating that gorgeous PDF, now takes Vinu just 15 minutes of simple review and approval. That is a staggering 75% reduction in his quoting time. Time he used to spend hunched over a desk stressing about compounding math errors. By fully automating this one specific bottleneck, Vinu isn't just getting his evenings back. He's freeing himself to actually focus on growing his business, building relationships with clients, and running his factory. If you're into building tech or optimizing a business, here is the huge takeaway from the QuoteMono architecture. Don't try to build a massive, bloated system that tries to be everything for everyone. Instead, find one specific, agonizing, time-consuming bottleneck, like quoting monocartons, and win that workflow completely by using the right tool for the right job. Use AI for language and use code for math.
So, I'm going to leave you with a fascinating question to chew on. Take a look at your own daily grind. If you adopted this architecture, and you split your most frustrating business bottlenecks into a language brand to handle the messy human inputs and a math calculator to handle the strict outputs, what exhausting, hours-long task could you automate tomorrow? Think about it. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.